Dr. Kim Day wiped the sweat from her forehead as she stared at the strange metal box they had found buried deep in the planet's surface. The research station Kepler-7 floated quietly in space above the dead world below. For 3 months, her team had been studying the ancient artifacts that dotted the planet's gray landscape. "The energy readings are off the charts," said Dr. Park Min, adjusting his glasses as he looked at the scanner. "Whatever this thing is, it's been powered for a very long time." Kim Day nodded. The black metal container was about the size of a small car. Strange symbols covered its surface, glowing faintly blue in the dim laboratory light. It had taken 2 weeks just to transport it up to the station. "Should we really be doing this without approval from Earth?" asked Dr. Lee Su, the team's youngest member. She looked nervous as she checked the containment field generators around the artifact. "We have full research authority," Kim Day replied. "Besides, this could be the discovery of the century. These symbols match nothing in our databases. The metal itself doesn't match any known elements." Park Jin, head of station security, stood near the laboratory door. He didn't like scientists playing with unknown alien technology, but orders were orders. His job was to keep everyone safe, not to question research decisions. "The scans show some kind of mechanism inside," Park Min continued. "It looks like a lock or seal of some kind. The power source appears to be keeping something contained." Kim Day made her decision. "Let's try to open it, slowly. Keep all containment fields at maximum." Lee Su activated the containment barriers. A shimmering blue wall of energy surrounded the artifact. The laboratory's automated systems hummed to life, ready to detect any dangerous changes in the environment. Park Min began sending carefully controlled energy pulses to the artifact's locking mechanism. The strange symbols began glowing brighter. A low humming sound filled the room. "Energy output is increasing," Lee Su reported, watching her instruments. "Still within safe parameters." The humming grew louder. The symbols on the artifact pulsed faster now, like a heartbeat picking up speed. Kim Day felt a strange uneasiness growing in her stomach, but her scientific curiosity was stronger than her fear. "Got it," Park Min announced. "The lock is responding. Whatever system this uses, it's incredibly advanced. It's almost like it's reading our intentions." A loud click echoed through the laboratory. The artifact's top section began to slide open with a soft hissing sound. Cool mist poured out of the opening, carrying a strange metallic smell. "Atmospheric analysis shows safe levels," Lee Su said. "No toxins detected." Kim Day stepped closer. Inside the container, she could see something large and dark. It looked organic, curled up like a sleeping animal. The creature's skin appeared black and shiny like polished stone. "Is it dead?" Park Min whispered. Before anyone could answer, the thing inside moved. A slight twitch, barely noticeable. Then another. "Life signs detected," Lee Su called out, her voice rising with excitement and fear. "Neural activity increasing rapidly, body temperature rising." The creature uncurled slowly. Kim Day stepped back as she realized how large it was. Even folded up, it filled the entire container. As it continued to move, she could see that it would be massive when fully extended. "Should I increase containment field strength?" Lee Su asked. "Not yet," Kim Day replied, though her heart was beating faster. "Let's observe. This is a living being, not a weapon." The creature's eyes opened. They glowed like hot copper, bright and intelligent. It looked around the laboratory, taking in its surroundings. When its gaze fell on the humans, Kim Day felt a chill run down her spine. The being sat up slowly. Its body was humanoid, but wrong in ways that made Kim Day's mind struggle to process what she was seeing. It stood 12 feet tall, covered in what looked like natural armor. Its arms were longer than human proportions, ending in hands that had too many fingers tipped with sharp claws. "Magnificent," Kim Day breathed. "It's absolutely magnificent." The creature stepped out of the container. The containment field sparked and failed instantly, as if the being had simply walked through it like it wasn't there. "Containment breach," Li Su announced, backing away from her instruments. "All barriers are down." Park Jin spoke into his radio. "Security alert. We have a containment failure in Laboratory 7. Unknown entity is free." The creature looked at Park Jin, tilting its head like a curious animal. Then it moved with impossible speed. One moment it was standing by the container. The next it was across the room. The laboratory's blast door, designed to stop explosions, crumpled like paper as the being pushed through it. Alarms began blaring throughout the station. Emergency lights bathed the corridors in red. Kim Dae and her team followed the creature's path, staying well behind. "Where is it going?" Park Min asked. They found their answer quickly. The creature was moving through the station with purpose, as if it knew exactly where it wanted to go. Security teams tried to stop it, but their energy weapons seemed to have no effect. Blast doors meant to contain emergencies were torn apart like tissue paper. "All personnel to escape pods." Park Jin's voice echoed through the station speakers. "This is not a drill. Evacuate immediately." Kim Dae watched through security monitors as the creature moved deeper into the station. It wasn't randomly destroying things. It seemed to be exploring, learning the layout. When it encountered people, they either ran or simply disappeared. No bodies were left behind, just scattered equipment and strange burn marks on the walls. "We need to evacuate," Li Su said, grabbing Kim Dae's arm. "It's heading for the main habitat sections." Through the monitors, they could see people running through corridors, some making it to escape pods, others not so fortunate. The creature moved like a shadow, sometimes visible, sometimes not. Park Jin appeared on the monitor, coordinating the evacuation. "Research team, get to Pod Bay 5, now!" But as they ran through the corridors, Kim Dae couldn't stop thinking about what she had seen in the creature's eyes. There had been intelligence there, yes, but also something else. Something that looked almost like confusion, or even fear. By the time they reached the pod bay, half the station had been evacuated. The creature was somewhere in the lower levels, and the sounds of tearing metal echoed through the station's structure. "What have we done?" Li Su whispered as their escape pod launched into space. Kim Dae watched the research station grow smaller through the viewport. Whatever they had released was still in there, and she had the terrible feeling that this was only the beginning. Libo sat alone in the maintenance tunnel, listening to the sounds of chaos above. The emergency alarms had been blaring for 2 hours now. Through the ventilation system, he could hear people running and shouting. Escape pods launched one after another, their engines roaring as they carried frightened researchers away from the station. Bo was not a scientist like the others. He fixed things when they broke. He kept the air flowing and the lights working. While everyone else studied alien artifacts, Bo made sure they had working toilets and hot meals. He was good at his job because he stayed calm when things went wrong. The creature had been released during Bo's sleep shift. By the time he woke up, half the station was already evacuating. The blast doors between sections had sealed automatically, trapping him in the lower maintenance areas with a handful of other survivors. Through his tablet, Bo could access the station's security cameras. He watched the creature move through the corridors above. It was huge and moved like liquid shadow. Its claws left deep scratches in the metal walls. Where it touched control panels, the electronics sparked and died. "Bo, are you there?" Dr. Kim Dae's voice crackled through his radio. "I'm here," Bo replied calmly. "I'm in maintenance section C. The blast doors are sealed." "Thank goodness. We thought you didn't make it out. We're trapped in the science section with Dr. Park Min and Nurse Choi Yun." Bo switched camera views on his tablet. He could see Kim Dae and the others huddled in a laboratory. They looked scared. Bo didn't blame them. The creature was unlike anything he had ever seen. "What does it want?" asked Park Min through the radio. "I don't think it knows," Bo answered, still watching the screens. "Look at camera 7. On the monitor. They could see the creature standing in the main corridor. It wasn't destroying things randomly anymore. It was examining the station's layout, touching walls and doorways like it was learning. Sometimes it would stop and tilt its head, as if listening to something only it could hear. "It's hunting," said Park Jin's voice over the radio. The security chief was somewhere in the upper levels, trying to reach the main communication array. "It's learning our patterns." Bo switched to another camera. The creature had found the dining hall. It moved between the tables slowly, almost carefully. When it reached the food preparation area, it stopped and studied the equipment. Its glowing eyes seemed curious rather than angry. "I don't think it's hunting us," Bo said quietly. "What do you mean?" Kim Dae asked. Bo watched as the creature gently touched a coffee machine with one clawed finger. The machine sparked but didn't break completely. The creature pulled its hand back quickly as if surprised. "It's not trying to kill us," Bo explained. "If it wanted us dead, we'd already be dead. It's faster and stronger than anything we have, but look at what it's doing." The creature had moved to a window. It pressed its face against the glass and stared out at the planet below. For several long minutes, it just stood there looking down at the gray world where they had found it. "Maybe it's trying to understand where it is," Nurse Choi Yoon suggested through the radio. Bo switched camera views again. The creature was moving toward the agricultural section where the station grew food. Bo's tools and equipment were stored there. If the creature kept following this path, it would eventually find him. "I need to get to the emergency beacon," Park Jin announced. "If I can activate it, rescue ships will know to stay away until this thing is contained." "Don't," Bo said firmly. "You'll just make noise and attract its attention. It's going to—" "Find us anyway," Park Jin replied. "At least this way we can warn others." Bo sighed. Security people always wanted to fight or run. Bo preferred to think. He studied the creature's movement patterns on his tablet. It moved fast when startled or threatened, but slowly when exploring. It had avoided areas with loud noises or flashing lights. "The agricultural section has quiet lighting and soft background noise from the water systems," Bo said to himself. "What?" Kim Dae asked. "Nothing. Just thinking out loud." Bo made a decision. He gathered his tools and headed toward the agricultural section. If the creature was coming his way, he might as well meet it on his own terms. Running hadn't worked for anyone else. The agricultural section was a large dome filled with growing plants and water recycling equipment. Bo had spent countless hours here, maintaining the systems that fed the station. It was quiet and peaceful, unlike the chaos in the rest of the station. Bo set up his work area near the tomato plants. He pulled out his tablet and began running diagnostics on the water pumps. The routine work helped him stay calm. He had learned long ago that panic made everything worse. Through the dome's glass ceiling, he could see stars. Somewhere out there, escape pods full of researchers were heading for safety. Bo wondered if he would ever see them again. A sound made him look up. The creature had found the entrance to the agricultural section. It stood in the doorway, its copper eyes studying the room. Its head moved slowly from side to side, taking in the plants and equipment. Bo went back to his work. His hands were steady as he typed on his tablet. The water pumps needed adjustment and the LED grow lights were running hot. Routine maintenance, nothing more. The creature stepped into the room. Its claws clicked softly on the metal floor. Bo could hear it moving closer, but he didn't look up. He continued working, checking systems and making notes. "Agricultural system is running at 92% efficiency," Bo said quietly to himself. It was an old habit, talking through his work. "Water temperature is optimal. Nutrient levels are good." The creature stopped moving. Bo could feel it watching him, but he kept working. The tomato plants needed water, and the pH levels needed adjustment. Simple tasks that needed doing, creature or no creature. Bo finally looked up. The creature stood 10 feet away, its massive form perfectly still. Its glowing eyes were fixed on him, but there was no threat in its posture. It seemed curious, almost puzzled. "Hello," Bo said simply, then went back to his work. The hunt had found its prey, but neither hunter nor hunted seemed to know what came next. Dr. Kim Day stared at the security monitor in disbelief. Through the camera in the agricultural section, she could see Li Bo calmly working on his tablet while the creature stood nearby. The massive being that had torn through blast doors and sent hundreds of people fleeing in terror was simply watching the maintenance worker. "Is he insane?" Dr. Park Min whispered. "Why isn't he running?" "Look at the creature," Kim Day said softly. "Look how it's standing." The creature's posture had changed completely. Gone was the aggressive stance they had seen earlier. Its razor-sharp claws were retracted. Its glowing copper eyes had dimmed to a softer amber color. Most remarkably, its massive frame seemed relaxed, almost peaceful. Bo continued his work routine, checking water levels and adjusting nutrient feeds for the plants. Occasionally, he would make quiet comments to himself about pump pressure or light settings. The creature's head tilted slightly, as if listening to his words. "Agricultural systems running smoothly," Bo said to no one in particular. "Tomatoes are growing well. Need to check the filter system tomorrow." The creature took a step closer. Kim Day held her breath, expecting violence. Instead, the being lowered itself into a sitting position. Not a predatory crouch, but something that looked almost companionable, like a large dog settling down beside its owner. "Incredible," Kim Day breathed. "It's responding to his calm behavior." Nurse Choi Yun leaned closer to the monitor. "Look at its eyes. They're not glowing as brightly anymore." Through the radio, they could hear Bo's steady breathing and the quiet sounds of his work. The creature remained seated, watching him with what appeared to be genuine curiosity. Bo sat down, his tablet, and reached into his work bag. He pulled out a small container of rice and vegetables. His dinner, forgotten until now. He opened it calmly and began eating with simple metal chopsticks. The creature's head tilted further, studying this new behavior. Bo glanced up occasionally, while eating, acknowledging the creature's presence without fear or aggression. "The water recycling system needs maintenance next week," Bo said between bites, continuing his habit of talking through his work. "The filters are getting old. Maybe I can find replacement parts in storage." Park Jin's voice crackled through the radio from somewhere else in the station. "What is happening down there? The creature hasn't moved in 20 minutes. "Bo is having dinner with it," Kim Day replied, unable to believe her own words. "He's what?" Kim Day watched as Bo finished his meal and packed away the container. He returned to his tablet, pulling up maintenance schedules. The creature shifted, slightly, adjusting its position to better observe the screen. "It's interested in what he's doing," Dr. Park Min observed. "Look how it's focusing on his work." Bo began explaining his tasks, speaking to himself as he always did. "Need to check the air recycling system tomorrow. The oxygen levels in section Dahlia 5 are a bit low. Probably just a blocked filter." The creature's eyes followed Bo's hands as he typed notes into his tablet. When Bo stood to check a water pump, the creature watched but didn't move from its sitting position. "This is unprecedented," Kim Day whispered. "We're witnessing first contact, and it's happening because of routine maintenance work." Bo knelt beside a pump housing and opened an access panel. The creature leaned forward slightly, apparently interested in the mechanical components inside. Bo explained what he was doing in his usual quiet way. "Pump is running hot. Probably needs new lubricant. These old models need regular care to keep working properly." The creature made a sound, not threatening or aggressive, but something that sounded almost like a question. Bo looked up at it directly for the first time since their encounter began. "You want to know what I'm doing?" Bo asked simply. The creature tilted its head again. Bo turned his tablet screen toward the being, showing the system diagnostics. "This tells me how all the machines are working," Bo explained patiently. Green means good. Yellow means needs attention. Red means broken. The screen showed mostly green indicators with a few yellow warnings. The creature's eyes moved across the display, seeming to process the information. You understand, don't you? Bo said quietly. You know about machines and systems. Kim Dae's heart raced as she watched this impossible conversation. The creature was clearly intelligent, far more so than they had initially realized. It was trying to communicate. Bo closed the pump housing and moved to another piece of equipment. The creature remained sitting, but turned to keep watching his work. When Bo pulled out a small tool to adjust a valve, the creature made another questioning sound. This is a pressure regulator, Bo explained, showing the tool. It helps control water flow. Very simple, but important. The creature extended one clawed hand toward the tool. Bo hesitated for a moment, then carefully placed the regulator in the creature's palm. The being examined it closely, turning it over with surprising gentleness. Careful, Bo said. It's delicate. The creature handed the tool back with what appeared to be great care. Its movements were slow and deliberate, as if it understood the tool's fragility. Thank you, Bo said simply. Through the radio, Kim Dae heard Park Jin's amazed voice. Did that thing just hand him back the tool? It did, Kim Dae confirmed. It's not just intelligent. It's cooperative. Bo continued his work for another hour. The creature watched every action, occasionally making soft sounds that might have been questions. Bo answered each one patiently, explaining pumps and filters and growing systems in simple terms. As the station's artificial night cycle began, the lights in the agricultural section dimmed automatically. Bo yawned and gathered his tools. Getting late, he said to himself. Time to rest. The creature stood as Bo prepared to leave. For a moment, Kim Dae feared it might follow him or become aggressive again. Instead, it settled back down among the tomato plants, curling up in a position that looked remarkably comfortable. Bo looked back at the creature as he reached the exit. Good night, he said softly. The creature's eyes dimmed further, and it made a sound that almost sounded like a reply. Dr. Kim Dae spent the entire night reviewing security footage and taking notes. What she had witnessed between Lee Bo and the creature changed everything she thought she knew about first contact with alien species. The being wasn't a mindless monster. It was intelligent, curious, and apparently capable of peaceful interaction. When the station's morning cycle began, Bo returned to the agricultural section with his usual calm demeanor. The creature was still there, resting among the plants. It looked up when Bo entered, and its eyes brightened slightly in what might have been recognition. Good morning, Bo said simply, setting down his tool bag. The creature made a soft sound in response. Bo began his daily routine, checking plant growth and water systems. The creature watched with the same intense interest as the night before. Through the communication system, Kim Dae spoke to the other survivors. We need to document everything. This could be the most important scientific discovery in human history. Nurse Choi Yun had been thinking about the situation all night. If it responds well to calm behavior, maybe others can interact with it. 2. Absolutely not. Park Jin's voice came through the radio. Bo got lucky once. We can't risk more lives. It's not luck, Kim Dae insisted. There's a pattern here. The creature only became aggressive when it encountered fear and weapons. Bo treats it like a curious visitor, not a threat. Bo was explaining his morning tasks to himself as usual. The creature listened to every word, occasionally making questioning sounds. Bo had begun responding to these sounds as if they were actual questions. The tomatoes need more nutrients today, Bo said, adjusting chemical levels in the water system. Plants are like people. They need food and water to stay healthy. The creature made a longer sound, almost musical. Bo looked at it thoughtfully. You want to help? He asked. The creature's head movements suggested agreement. Bo considered this for a moment, then handed it a small container of plant nutrients. Pour this into the water reservoir. Slowly, Bo instructed. Kim Dae watched in amazement as the creature carefully followed Bo's instructions. Its massive claws handled the small container with incredible precision. Not a single drop was wasted. Remarkable, Dr. Park Min whispered through the radio. It understands complex instructions. Over the following hours, Bo and the creature developed a working partnership. Bo would explain what needed to be done, and the creature would help with surprising skill. When Bo needed to reach high places, the creature would lift him carefully. When heavy equipment needed moving, the creature provided gentle assistance. The psychological profile is fascinating, Kim Dae observed. It seems to find comfort in routine tasks and structured activities. Nurse Choi Yun made a decision that surprised everyone. I'm going to try approaching them. Absolutely not. Park Jin responded immediately. Look at the footage, Choi Yun argued. It's been peaceful for over 12 hours. If we can establish communication, think what we might learn. Against Park Jin's protests, Choi Yun made her way to the agricultural section. She moved slowly and spoke in soft, measured tones, just as Bo did. Hello, Bo, she called from the entrance. May I come in? Bo looked up from his work. The creature became alert but didn't show signs of aggression. Come slowly, Bo advised. No sudden movements. Choi Yun entered the dome carrying her medical bag. The creature watched her carefully but remained calm. She approached to within 10 feet of Bo and the creature, then sat down on the floor. I brought supplies to check your health, she said to Bo in the same calm tone he used. Working so hard, you might need medical attention. The creature tilted its head, studying this new person. Choi Yun opened her medical bag slowly, showing each item as she removed it. This checks body temperature, she explained, holding up a scanner. This cleans cuts and scrapes. This checks if someone is hurt inside. The creature leaned forward, interested in the medical equipment. When Choi Yun ran a scanner over Bo's arm to check his health, the creature made questioning sounds. It reads the inside of his body, Choi Yun explained patiently. Shows if bones are broken or if there are injuries we can't see. The creature extended its own arm toward the scanner. Choi Yun looked at Bo uncertainly. It wants you to scan it too, Bo said. It's curious about everything we do. Choi Yun carefully ran the scanner over the creature's arm. The device showed readings unlike anything in its database, but it worked. The creature examined the scanner results with obvious fascination. Your body is very different from ours, Choi Yun said, but the scanner shows you're healthy and strong. The creature made pleased sounds and settled back into its resting position. It seemed satisfied with this interaction. Park Jin's voice came through the radio, grudging admiration in his tone. I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's actually cooperating with medical examination. Later that day, Engineer Han Sol joined them. Like the others, he moved slowly and spoke softly. The creature accepted his presence without difficulty. Han Sol began working on the agricultural section's lighting system, and the creature watched with keen interest. While working, Han Sol hummed an old folk song. The creature's head tilted, listening to the melody. When Han Sol finished one verse, the creature made musical sounds of its own, as if trying to participate. It likes music, Han Sol observed. The sounds it makes have rhythm and pattern. By evening, a small group of humans was working peacefully alongside the creature. It helped with tasks, showed curiosity about their tools, and seemed to enjoy their company. The monster that had terrified everyone was revealing itself to be intelligent, helpful, and surprisingly gentle. Kim Dae compiled her observations as the day ended. Initial fear response was likely caused by confusion after long imprisonment. The creature shows advanced intelligence, tool use capability, and strong social instincts. It responds positively to routine, explanation, and calm interaction. As night fell, the creature settled down among the plants as it had the night before. But this time, it wasn't alone. Bo sat nearby, working on his tablet. The creature watched the screen with interest, occasionally making soft sounds that Bo responded to, as if they were having a conversation. "Good night," Bo said when he finished his work. The creature made musical sounds in return. It was learning to communicate in its own way, and the humans were learning to understand. The foundation of trust was being built, one careful interaction at a time. 3 days had passed since the creature's release, and Li Bo had settled into a new routine. Every morning, he would find the creature waiting in the agricultural section, ready to help with maintenance tasks. Bo had started calling it Guillaume. In his mind, though he kept this private name to himself. Guillaume had proven to be an excellent assistant. Its strength made moving heavy equipment effortless, and its precise control allowed it to handle delicate instruments without damage. More importantly, it seemed to genuinely enjoy the work. The creature's eyes would brighten when Bo explained new tasks, and it made pleased sounds when systems ran smoothly. Dr. Kim Day had established a makeshift research station in the agricultural section, documenting every interaction between humans and Guillaume. Her findings were revolutionary. The creature displayed problem-solving skills, emotional responses, and what appeared to be technological knowledge far beyond current human understanding. "It recognizes patterns in our equipment that we missed," Kim Day observed as she watched Guillaume help Bo repair an air filtration unit. "Look how it identified the faulty component before our diagnostic tools did." Guillaume had pointed to a specific circuit board that appeared normal to human inspection. When Bo tested it, the board showed microfractures that would have caused system failure within days. "How did you know that was broken?" Bo asked Guillaume. The creature made a series of musical sounds and gestured toward the machinery. While Bo couldn't understand the meaning, it was clear that Guillaume was trying to explain something about the equipment's operation. "I think it understands our technology better than we do," Bo told Kim Day. "Sometimes I get the feeling it's teaching me things, not the other way around." Engineer Han Sol had become fascinated by Guillaume's responses to music and sound. The creature would listen intently when Han Sol hummed while working and would often respond with its own melodic sounds. These communications seemed to carry meaning, though the humans couldn't decipher it yet. "It's trying to teach us its language," Han Sol realized during one work session. "The patterns in its sounds are consistent. Same situations produce similar vocalizations." Nurse Choi Yun had discovered that Guillaume was remarkably gentle despite its fearsome appearance. When she treated small cuts on Bo's hands from maintenance work, Guillaume would watch intently and make concerned sounds. It had even learned to hold medical supplies while she worked. "It shows empathy," Choi Yun noted. "When someone is hurt or tired, it becomes more careful and attentive. That suggests emotional intelligence." The breakthrough in their relationship came during Bo's 4th night of working late. He had been repairing atmospheric processors for 18 straight hours, determined to fix a problem that was affecting air quality throughout the station. Exhaustion finally overcame him, and he fell asleep at his workstation, slumped over his tablet. Kim Day, monitoring through security cameras, watched in amazement as Guillaume's behavior changed. The creature moved silently to where Bo slept and carefully arranged itself in a protective position around him. Guillaume's massive form curled in a circle, creating a safe space where Bo could rest undisturbed. "It's protecting him," Kim Day whispered to the others through the radio. "Look at how it's positioned. Nothing could reach Bo without going through Guillaume first." The creature remained motionless for hours, standing guard over the sleeping human. Its glowing eyes dimmed to barely visible points of light, and its breathing became slow and steady. When morning came, Guillaume was still there, watching over Beau, with patient dedication. Beau woke to find himself surrounded by Guillaume's protective embrace. For a moment he was startled, then he realized what had happened. "You watched over me all night," Beau said softly. Guillaume made gentle sounds and carefully moved, aside to give Beau space to stretch. The creature's eyes showed what could only be described as affection. This moment changed everything. Park Jin, who had remained skeptical of the creature's peaceful intentions, saw the security footage and finally accepted that Guillaume posed no threat to the humans. "I've never seen anything like it," Park Jin admitted through the radio. "A creature that powerful choosing to protect instead of destroy. It goes against every survival instinct we know." Dr. Kim Dae began documenting what she called the Kepler Awakening in her official reports. The creature that had initially terrified everyone was revealing itself to be not just intelligent, but emotionally sophisticated and capable of forming deep bonds with humans. Guillaume's species may have been spacefaring long before humans existed, Kim Dae theorized. The artifacts we found suggest a highly advanced civilization. Its initial aggressive behavior was likely a trauma response from long imprisonment, and Guillaume developed their own form of communication over the following days. Beau would explain tasks using simple words and gestures, and Guillaume would respond with sounds and movements that Beau learned to interpret. They worked together with increasing efficiency, each understanding the other's capabilities and limitations. "It's not just learning our language," Beau observed. "It's teaching me to think differently about problems. Sometimes the solutions it suggests are better than anything I would have thought of." The other survivors began to see Guillaume not as a monster, but as a valuable team member. When equipment broke down, they would ask for Guillaume's help. When someone was injured or tired, Guillaume would offer gentle assistance. The creature had become an integral part of their small community. Engineer Han Sol made an important discovery about Guillaume's musical communications. The sounds weren't random expressions of mood. They contained complex information about technical problems and solutions. "It's been trying to share technical knowledge with us," Han Sol realized. The musical patterns correspond to system operations. It's like a form of technological telepathy. As days passed, the bond between Beau and Guillaume grew stronger. They worked together seamlessly, anticipating each other's needs and actions. Guillaume would bring tools before Beau asked for them. Beau would explain problems before Guillaume indicated confusion. The image that would become famous throughout human space was captured by Kim Dae's cameras on the 7th night. Beau, exhausted after another long work session, had fallen asleep at his station again. Guillaume curled up beside him, not just protecting, but actually sleeping alongside the human. The galaxy's most feared predator rested peacefully next to a tired maintenance worker, both finding comfort in each other's presence. When rescue ships finally arrived to evacuate the remaining survivors, they expected to find tragedy. Instead, they discovered one of the most remarkable friendships in the history of interspecies contact. The monster that had terrified everyone had found what all intelligent beings need: understanding, companionship, and someone who saw beyond appearance. To the person within, Captain Lee Hyo stood on the bridge of the rescue vessel Harmony, staring at the reports from Kepler 7 research station. 3 weeks had passed since the evacuation began, and the stories coming from the survivors seemed impossible to believe. "You're telling me that the creature responsible for the station lockdown is now helping with repairs?" Captain Lee asked Dr. Kim Dae, who had requested to return to the station. "Not just helping," Kim Dae replied. "Leading them. Guillaume has shown our people more efficient ways to maintain life support systems than anything in our training manuals." The HFY rescue fleet had arrived expecting to find a devastated station and traumatized survivors. Instead, they discovered a functioning facility where humans and an alien being worked together in remarkable harmony. Captain Lee watched through the view screen as their shuttle approached the station. "How do we know this creature won't attack when we dock?" "Because Li Bo vouches for it," Kim Day answered simply. "And in 3 weeks of constant contact, Guillaume has never shown aggression toward anyone who approaches peacefully." The docking procedure proceeded normally. When the rescue team entered the station, they were greeted by an incredible sight. Bo and Guillaume were working together in the main corridor, repairing hull damage caused during the creature's initial escape. Guillaume held metal plates in perfect position while Bo welded them into place. "Welcome to Kepler 7, Bo said calmly, not stopping his work. "We're almost finished with the hull repairs." Guillaume figured out how to strengthen the weak points. The rescue team members stared in shock at the 12-foot-tall creature working peacefully alongside a human. Guillaume looked up at the newcomers, made a gentle musical sound that might have been a greeting, and returned to holding the metal plates steady. Captain Lee approached slowly, following the protocols that Kim Day had established. No sudden movements, calm voice, respectful demeanor. "I'm Captain Lee Hio," he said. "Thank you for taking care of my people." Guillaume tilted its head and made questioning sounds. Bo translated as best he could. "Guillaume wants to know if you're the leader of the rescue ships. It's asking if everyone is safe." Captain Lee felt a chill of amazement. The creature was concerned about human welfare. "Yes, everyone who evacuated is safe," Captain Lee replied, "and we're grateful for your help in protecting those who stayed." Guillaume made pleased sounds and returned to work. Over the following hours, Captain Lee observed interactions that challenged everything he thought he knew about first contact situations. Dr. Park Min showed Guillaume how human computer systems worked. Guillaume responded by demonstrating advanced mathematical concepts that helped solve processing problems the humans hadn't even recognized. Nurse Choi Yun treated minor injuries on both humans and, remarkably, on Guillaume itself. The creature had sustained small cuts during repair work and trusted Choi Yun to tend them with the same care she gave human patients. Engineer Han Sol had developed a basic musical language with Guillaume. They could communicate simple technical concepts through melodic patterns. Guillaume's musical responses contained information about system operations that far exceeded human engineering knowledge. "This changes everything," Captain Lee told Kim Day as they watched Bo teaching Guillaume to understand human tool markings. "Our first contact protocols assume hostile or neutral encounters. We never considered the possibility of immediate cooperation." "Guillaume's species was clearly advanced," Kim Day replied. "The imprisonment artifacts suggest they were space travelers long before humans developed agriculture. What we're seeing might be normal behavior for them." The most remarkable discovery came when Guillaume began sharing technological knowledge through its musical communications. Han Sol had learned to record and analyze these sounds, revealing complex information about energy systems and materials science. "It's trying to teach us," Han Sol explained to Captain Lee. "The musical patterns describe technologies we haven't invented yet. Guillaume isn't just intelligent, it's trying to help us advance." Captain Lee faced an unprecedented decision. Military protocols demanded that the creature be contained and studied, but the evidence clearly showed that Guillaume was not only peaceful, but actively beneficial to human welfare. "What do you recommend?" Captain Lee asked Bo during a private conversation. "Let us stay together," Bo replied simply. "Guillaume needs routine and companionship. I need someone who understands my work better than I do sometimes. We're good for each other." The solution came from an unexpected source. The Galactic Science Council had been following developments at Kepler 7 through Kim Day's reports. They proposed establishing the first official human-alien cohabitation research program. "You would be willing to remain here permanently?" Captain Lee asked Bo. "It's not permanent," Bo corrected. "It's home." Guillaume seemed to understand the conversation's importance. It made long musical statements to Bo, who listened carefully. "Guillaume says its people valued peace and learning above all else," Bo translated. They traveled between stars to share knowledge and help others grow. Guillaume is alone now, but it can continue that mission with us. The rescue fleet departed, leaving behind a skeleton crew of volunteers to help establish the new research facility. Bo, Kim Dae, Park Min, Choi Yun, and Han Sol all chose to stay. Captain Lee promised regular supply runs and communication support. Dr. Kim Dae's documentation of the Kepler Awakening became required reading at every space academy. Her work established new protocols for approaching unknown species with patience, respect, and open minds instead of fear and weapons. The story spread throughout human space and beyond. The creature that had initially terrified hundreds of people became a symbol of what was possible when different species chose understanding over conflict. Months later, Bo was teaching Guillaume to grow vegetables in the rebuilt greenhouse. The creature's massive claws handled seeds with incredible gentleness, placing each one at the perfect depth and spacing. "The tomatoes will be ready in 6 weeks," Bo explained. "Plants take time to grow, but the waiting is worth it." Guillaume made. Musical sounds that Bo had learned meant agreement and satisfaction. They worked together in comfortable silence, two very different beings who had found common ground in simple daily tasks. Kim Dae watched them from her research station, still, documenting their interactions. What had begun as a terrifying first contact had become the foundation for a new understanding of what friendship could mean across the vast differences between species. The monster that had terrified everyone was sleeping peacefully in the greenhouse. That evening, curled up among the tomato plants while Bo worked nearby on his maintenance reports. Both had found what every intelligent being needs: acceptance, purpose, and someone who sees the person within, regardless of appearance. In her final report, Kim Dae wrote, "The Kepler Awakening proves that our greatest strength as humans is not our technology or our weapons, but our capacity to offer kindness to the unknown. Sometimes the most alien thing in the universe is not a creature from distant stars, but our own fear of what we don't understand. When we choose compassion over fear, we discover that the universe is far less lonely than we imagined." The research station continued its work, now as a place where two species learned from each other and built something new together. And at the center of it all was a simple truth: that friendship can bloom anywhere, even between a human maintenance worker and a creature from the stars, if approached with patience, respect, and an open heart.